Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be revisiting The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror number 33. A couple weeks ago, I of course made the Simpsons Death Note parody video, talking about The Simpsons finally making a quite good parody of an anime. Well, we're back to talk about that same episode, and instead of talking about the second segment, which was that one, we're going to be talking about the third segment, the one that came after it, which is called Simpsons World. And quick side note, the Simpsons Death Note video has over 1.3k views, that's just in a couple of days, because I'm recording this a couple of weeks before this video actually goes up. So who knows how many views that video will have by the time this goes up. Maybe 1.4, 1.5, who knows. But thank you everyone for getting that video to becoming my... Well, at the time it's my third most viewed video of all time, but by the time this video goes up, it might be the most viewed video on my channel ever. But now it's time to get into it. So, Simpsons World starts at Marge vs. the Monorail, a season 4 episode where Homer is showing the family around the front of the monorail. Marge opens a little cupboard and sees a family of possums, and she says, "Homer, there's a family of possums in here." And just as Homer's about to say, "I call the big one Bidey," like he did in the actual episode, instead, these two guys appear and say that very same line at the same time as Homer, and then give him some duff, which makes him start malfunctioning. So this man and woman who wearing lab coats have to take Homer back to the lab, because he's actually a robot. This isn't the real Homer. Homer wakes up later on and wonders where he is. He sees a tablet with stats about himself on. He turns his self-awareness all the way to full and sees that he's a robot. And he's like, what the hell? Yeah, so Simpsons World is essentially a theme park where fans of the show can live out classic moments from the show. Homer accidentally kills this man and woman, and then goes looking for the rest of his family. He finds Lisa, and there's a bunch of other Lisas around her from different episodes. There's Goth Lisa, there's Cool Lisa, there's Little Miss Springfield Lisa. They even went that far back to show us that. And Florida Lisa. Remember when Homer made Lisa into the state of Florida but called it Florida? All of those Lisas were there, lying around. Homer turns Lisa's self-awareness up to full, and she can't mentally cope with the fact that she's a robot, so he's like, turns down the self-awareness very slightly, and now she can cope. So as Homer and Lisa look for Bart, Marge and Maggie, they run past a bunch of different versions of themselves. They even run past a bunch of Abes. From the ones that I can make out, I can see that there's a black and white version of Abe. There's Drag Queen Abe. Remember when he did a performance for that bad Austrian man from the 1930s and 40s? There was Abe in his World War II uniform, and that's all. There's also Abe in his wrestling uniform. Those are the ones I can remember, and Homer crushes all 5 of them. So Homer's relationship with Abe hasn't changed, clearly, even in the Halloween episodes. Then the family finally escape from the lab, and they appear from underneath the Jebediah Springfield statue in the middle of town. And they see a bunch of different versions of themselves and loads of different classic moments from the show. There's Stupid Sexy Flanders, there's Abe yelling at a cloud, there's Homer driving the Homer, remember? The car that made his half-brother Herb's business go bankrupt. Yeah, that's how far back they're going with some of these. They even went all the way back to the very, very beginning with Bart dragging Nelson on a cart with him tied up from Bart the General. The second ever episode of the show. Then a bunch of Ralphs appear. And they say, the first Ralph says, "My cat's breath smells like cat food." That's, of course, a reference to the episode where Lisa met Allison, who was an equal to her, if not slightly better than her at everything. But then in the diorama that they did, Ralph ended up winning with his collection of Star Wars action figures. And then late at the end of the episode, he trips and falls on top of them. And then that's when he says, "My cat's breath smells like cat food." So they start running away from the Ralphs. Lisa picks up the Homer's whacking day stick. Yep, another classic moment. Good old whacking day to take down some of the Ralphs. Then the Ralphs also say, "I choose you to die." Of course, from the classic episode where Lisa gives Ralph a Valentine's Day card and Ralph then falls in love with Lisa. So Homer finds a t-shirt cannon, which he starts shooting from the season 11 episode, where Maude ended up getting killed by that very same cheap t-shirt cannon. So Homer's shooting it at the Ralphs. Maude even appears, and he shoots her with it, of course, killing her again. So the family are like, "Oh god, there's too many Ralphs, what do we do?" But the only ones there are Homer, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie. Where's Marge gone? Marge has gone because she pulls up in the Canyonero. Remember that? Even the Canyonero song starts playing. And Marge drives the Canyonero straight through the entrance to Simpsons World, smashing it open, and drives away. Where did they end up? They end up at a restaurant, but not just any restaurant. They end up at Bob's Burgers. Yep, for the second time now, the Simpsons have ended up in the Bob's Burgers world. The last time that happened was in a season 30 couch gag, where Homer ended up there by accident and didn't know where he was. And as the camera zooms out, it shows that Simpsons World isn't the only cartoon theme park place that can be seen. There's one for South Park, there's one for Family Guy, there's one for Loudmouth, no, Big Mouth even, there's one for Futurama, and there's even one right at the end for SpongeBob. So where Simpsons World is not the only one. There's more than one. So what did I think of this one? Personally, I actually, as I said at the end of my Simpsons Death Note video, this was my favourite segment of the three. The first one I didn't think was very good at all. The second one, which was the Death Note one, was quite good, and this one was the best. If you haven't figured out what Simpsons World is a parody of, it's a parody of WestWorld. I've never seen WestWorld. The only thing I know about it is that Haley Goss, or Goss, I don't know how to pronounce it, worked on a couple of those episodes. You might recognise her name because she was one of the main writers on The Last of Us Part 2. And the episodes of WestWorld she worked on were seen as some of the worst episodes the show ever had. Maybe that was the red flag for why she shouldn't have been anywhere near The Last of Us Part 2, especially as a main writer, when she'd barely worked on anything in her career, and everything she had worked on, nobody liked. But yeah, what do I like about this episode? well, this segment. The great thing about this segment is it's kind of a love letter to classic Simpsons fans, to the fans of the show that love the good old days from like seasons 1 through 9. Or as some Simpsons fans would say, 1 through 8. Since they feel season 9 is where the show started its downhill spiral. So seasons 1 through 8. Because there's so many classic moments from it. As I said, Bart the General, the Homer, Abe yelling at a cloud. One thing I didn't mention earlier was Camp Krusty. Even that makes a sneaky little appearance. Also the pig from the season 7 episode, Lisa the Vegetarian. The pig that Homer's about to cook that goes flying, where he's like, it's just a little dirty, it's still good, it's still good. It's just a little slimy, it's still good, it's still good. It's just a little airborne, it's still good, it's still good. That episode. Even the pig makes a little appearance in the sky. Oh, one thing I definitely need to mention that I didn't earlier was, remember the whole Homer going into the hedge meme? They even reference that in this episode where these two superfans try to push Homer into the hedge, but instead he pushes them into the hedge and they get killed. Now there's a theory going around that the two Australian superfans that Homer kills by pushing them into the hedge are actually the two members of the Four Finger Discount YouTube channel, which is a channel all about The Simpsons. So that's interesting. Of course, there was also a theory going around that in the Simpsons episode that the one where those two people hacked into Disney and showed a bunch of Simpsons clips that never made it to us before. That episode. There was, of course, theories going around that the woman out of those two was actually loosely based off another Simpsons YouTuber, Lydia, from The Simpsons Theory. It seems like the Simpsons writers are incorporating incorporating Simpsons influences, I guess you call them, into their episodes. But yeah, if you loved old Simpsons, this is the episode. This is the segment for you. You don't even need to watch the whole Treehouse of Horror episode, just the third section of it. Because this might be the best Treehouse of Horror episode The Simpsons have ever made. And they've made 33 of them. But yeah, being able to reminisce over so many classic Simpsons moments, even the fact that the episode starts in Marge versus the monorail. And that's where we're going to conclude this video. In my opinion, this might just be the best Treehouse of Horror segment The Simpsons have ever made. And I've seen all 33 of them. So thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you've watched this tell me what you thought of this segment or the episode as a whole if you prefer a different segment to the final one. Maybe you enjoyed The Simpsons Death Note one more. I'd love to hear in the comments, but until next time, catch you later.